Is not always the fault of a parent when a child grows up and decides to go no contact. If what I'm saying triggers you, that's perfectly fine, though you should probably look inward, considering I'm speaking as somebody who, when I turned 18, went no contact with my parents. And I know some idiot that doesn't know me, my family, or my parents has a nice long think piece just waiting for me in my comment section if this video hits the wrong side of TikTok. And that's fine, I'm not reading it though. My parents growing up didn't really expect much from me, especially in high school. They expected me to keep my grades at a C and above.
Wait one damn minute. Wait a minute, y'all. So let me get this straight. Your parents loved you. They provided for you. They disciplined you. They had rules. They expected respect. And your response was, I'm cutting you off. Right? Your response was, I'm cutting you off. And this is what I tell you guys all the time online. Right? A lot of adult children tell me all the time, Aaron, understand, children do not leave good parenting. And I tell them straight up, that's bullshit. And I believe that's bullshit. Were your parents perfect? Hell no. Ain't nobody perfect. But this right here proves my point, what I've been saying. What's what I've been saying? See, this is exactly what I've been trying to tell parents on this channel. Right? This young man basically admitted something that a lot of people don't want to hear. He said his parents did a lot of things that were right. They weren't addicts. They weren't absent. They were parents. The issue wasn't neglect. You know what I'm saying? The issue was he didn't like some of the rules they set in place. Right? And somewhere along the way, this generation got sold that this idea that boundaries are abuse, that expectations are control, that discipline is trauma, right? That's what they got told. And so they believe that. And disagreements is toxic. No, sometimes your parents were parenting. They needed to set the rules. They had to have rules. Right? They had to have rules. But for some odd reason, this generation calls any type of disagreement, any type of something that you don't believe in what they're saying, they call that trauma. And it's toxic. And their way with dealing with trauma and toxic is to cut you off. All right, let's keep watching the video.
They expected me to not do drugs, to stay out of trouble at school, to do my chores at home, and to stay away from using profanity. And in my years of high school, I managed to break every single one of those rules on a pretty regular basis. And so naturally, I spent most of my time in high school without my phone, without TV privileges, without video game privileges, and I didn't get to go out with my friends much. So the short little patches that I did follow the rules, I did get to do all those things. And my parents weren't expecting something from me that they didn't expect from their other 3 kids either. These were the rules of the house. I just did not want to follow them. I thought that I was above them. And because I spent most of my high school years without my phone, I sat there and instead of looking inward and seeing what I was doing to deserve these punishments that I was getting, I was looking at my parents and blaming the entire thing on them. And I told myself it was their fault for 4 straight years until...
Okay, let's go from a parent perspective, right? Right? We all had rules, curfews, grades, responsibilities, respect for your mother and your father, help around the house, contribute, right? And if my child looked at those rules and decided I was the villain, that doesn't automatically make me a bad parent. Right? That doesn't make me a bad parent. Now, before somebody jumps into the comments, yes, some parents absolutely caused estrangement. I'm not saying that. Some parents were abusive. Some parents refused and still do refuse accountability. And some parents deserve distance. I get it. But that's just not every story. And a lot of these adult children online want you to believe that's every story. That if your child went no contact with you, you had to be a horrible parent. And that's just not true. That's not true. And we do, you know, and us as parents, right? Well, us as parents, when we pretend, you know, every no contact story has a monster, right? Has a monster in it on one side and an innocent victim on the other side. A lot of times, y'all, that's just not true. Sometimes good parents raise children who reject authority. All right? Sometimes good parents raise children who reject authority. Sometimes good parents raise children who don't want accountability. You know this, right? Sometimes good parents hear the sentence, "You were a good parent. I just didn't like your rules." Think about that, y'all. And if that's the reason, that says more about the child than the parent, right? I want to hear from you guys though, man. Should parents be blamed for every estrangement? Right? Should they be blamed for every estrangement? Because if you listen to the online critics and the people that's talking online, they'll tell you over and over again, right? Children do not leave good parents. And Aaron Real Talk gonna tell you over and over again, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I see it every day, right? So like I say, my question for you guys, should parents be blamed for every estrangement? Or can good parents sometimes lose relationships simply because they dared to parent? Think about it, y'all. Can good parents sometimes lose relationships simply because they dared to parent? Right? That's what I want to ask you guys today. That's my question. But listen, thank you for rocking with your boy. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for the algorithm, man, and look out for your boy. I'm gonna be dropping more videos, man. Y'all make sure y'all come on my lives, man. Come on my lives. My lives on YouTube on every Tuesday and Thursday. Y'all come check me out. Once again, I love you guys for supporting me. I appreciate you guys. And like I say, man, hit that subscribe button. Thank you again. I appreciate it.